In the summer of 2021, the highest-earning run in combat sports history came to a sudden, violent halt. A lower leg bone snapped under the arena lights, instantly grounding a career built on momentum. The man standing across the cage that night was Dustin Poirier, securing a technical knockout that handed his opponent a second consecutive defeat. A snapped tibia is a catastrophic failure of the body's main weight-bearing bone. Repairing it requires invasive surgery, forcing metal rods and screws into the leg to stabilize the limb for basic walking, let alone professional fighting. The Ultimate Fighting Championship operates on a relentless schedule of constant noise and weekly spectacles, but the space reserved for its biggest draw went completely silent, leaving an unexpected 5-year void in the sport's main event scene. Now, that silence is scheduled to end. The return is set for July 11th, deep in the familiar territory of Las Vegas. This absence created a massive economic and cultural vacuum in mixed martial arts. Fans and executives are now waiting to see if a physically shattered athlete can step back into the spotlight he built. To understand the stakes of this return, you have to measure the height from which he fell. The current uncertainty threatens a legacy built on absolute dominance. His initial run through the featherweight division was a sequence of flawless predictions and violent executions. It culminated in a 13-second knockout of long-reigning champion Jose Aldo, a moment that cemented his athletic credibility. He didn't stop there. By capturing the lightweight title while still holding the featherweight crown, he became the first fighter in UFC history to hold undisputed championships in 2 weight classes simultaneously. Behind these victories was a psychological weapon, an overwhelming swagger that broke opponents before the opening bell even rang. He fought with absolute certainty, and for years, reality aligned perfectly with his confidence. This chart illustrates the financial reality of that era. While a standard successful UFC pay-per-view hovered between 300,000 and 500,000 buys, his appearances routinely shattered the 1.5 million mark, completely recalibrating the sports economy. That massive drawing power allowed him to cross over into boxing in 2017. As the graph scales back, you can see how his bout against Floyd Mayweather generated 4.3 million pay-per-view buys and over $600 million in total revenue. Standing across the ring from Floyd Mayweather propelled him from a niche combat sports star into the upper echelon of global celebrity wealth. At that exact moment, he possessed an untouchable combination of physical invincibility and financial leverage. He had built the highest pedestal in the history of combat sports, leaving a long, dangerous way down. Following the boxing crossover, the invincibility began to fracture. The return to the octagon brought a steep, undeniable decline in his competitive output. The turning point was a crushing submission defeat to Khabib Nurmagomedov. That loss initiated a severe professional slide, resulting in defeats in 3 of his last 4 mixed martial arts bouts. As the physical dominance slipped away inside the arena, his personal life became increasingly chaotic and destructive outside of it. The first major blow to his public standing occurred in 2019, when he was caught on camera punching an older man in an Irish pub. The incident led to a public guilty plea for assault and a fine. The legal and reputational issues escalated significantly. In 2024, a civil court jury in Ireland found him liable for a sexual assault stemming from an incident 6 years prior, ordering him to pay over $250,000 in damages. Against this backdrop of public scandal and legal penalties, his daily routine reverted to the isolated reality of physical rehabilitation, spending hours in private gyms trying to force a broken leg back into fighting shape. The snapped tibia in 2021 was the visible climax of a much larger collapse. Any successful return now requires repairing bone and muscle alongside a deeply compromised global reputation. The obstacle waiting for him on July 11th is Max Holloway, a 34-year-old veteran and one of the most durable, battle-tested fighters of his generation. There is a heavy irony in this matchup. 13 years ago, during his initial rise, he defeated a much younger Holloway by unanimous decision. Their paths have diverged drastically since then. While the Irish star spent years embroiled in controversies and inactivity, Holloway steadily evolved, accumulating 26 professional wins against the best active talent in the world. Now 37 years old, the returning former champion carries a surgically repaired leg and a half-decade of ring rust into a fight against an active, elite opponent. The physiological math is heavily stacked against him. This raises a crucial question about the true nature of this event. It remains to be seen whether this is a legitimate attempt to climb back up the rankings or a highly lucrative spectacle cashing in on past glory. The gold UFC title represents the absolute peak of the sport. A victory here wouldn't win him a belt, but it would prove he still belongs in the same conversation as the men who wear them, potentially securing his fighting legacy. July 11th will force the truth into the light. The world will finally see if a physically and publicly damaged icon can reclaim his place in the cage, or if his era has permanently run its course.